Right, in this video, I'm going to go through analysis of the two incidents that I showed you in this video. The Formula One toxic narrative inciting fans, where I showed you the crash between Stroll and Verstappen at Portugal 2020 and compared that with Silverstone 2021 between Verstappen and Hamilton. Before I go through the footage and do a bit more frame by frame stuff and show you what was actually going on and break it down, I'm just going to identify one of the key problems that we have with Formula One and Formula One social media. And that is twats with an opinion that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And we see that a lot in the comment section. So here's an example. The most recent comment to that video is this one. And it says, you compare two incidents that look similar at first glance, but are totally different. And he loves the use of emoji, this guy. In the LS incident, they both had fully warmed tyres. So I'm assuming LS means Lance Stroll. They both had fully warmed tyres. And which is crucial? Clean tyres. Both of these are key in the incident on Silverstone. More emojis. It is easy to narrate anything if you leave crucial facts out of the equation. Emoji, emoji, emoji. So here is a different perspective. More emojis. Images in Silverstone below. They are links to F1, the Formula One YouTube channel, giving their account of the F1 narrative. So they're the things that we already see. The ones where they vilified Sir Lewis Hamilton without actually breaking down to the truth of the matter. All right? Which this guy won't have seen my channel, won't have seen the countless videos I've done of breaking the truth down, evidencing where the impact took place. But he's got his opinion and he's got a keyboard and he's sharing it with us. Images in Silverstone below show from the front that Al H was driving on the far right with a huge cloud of dirt behind him. So if you're looking at it from the front, looking at Lewis Hamilton, Lewis would be on the left, right? But, you know, who knows? Who knows? And therefore entered cops with completely dirty and not properly warmed up tyres just after the start. With clean tyres, his line would have been difficult, read impossible to achieve, but impossible with dirty tyres. Little cross there. It won't be easy to convince me that someone with his experience on his home track didn't realise that. In my world, this was an attack, well potential to be lethal. With emojis again, and then some images. Now put the UK bias in the bin and try again. So that's what this guy's valuable insight is. So he thinks that the Stroll-Verstappen incident is totally different because Silverstone involves dirty tyres. We're led to believe this notion of the racing line is kept cleaner because the tyres are going over that section of track all the time. So there is no build-up of dirt, dust, debris, or whatever it's rubbered in, they say. Yeah? And once you go off that, then your tyres are going to pick up dirt. So Max Verstappen in the Portuguese incident, where's he? Where's his car? Is it on the racing line or has he gone off that racing line and therefore likely to be picking up dirt on the tyres? Answer. Yes, he's gone off the racing line, likely to be picking up dirt. I'll answer the questions because I know you lack the ability to answer these for yourself, you fucking retard. Right? Now, next. Oh, and by that way, I know that some of you will feign that you are mortally offended by the use of that term, yet your hero uses it. You know, your hero, Max Verstappen, called Lance Stroll a mongoloid. Okay, that was on that footage. That is the language that your boy, your favourite, used. And you ask why we don't respect him. Well, if somebody's going to conduct themselves like that, they don't deserve any respect. And when I'm using those terms, I am aiming them specifically at people who make retarded comments such as this. They think they've got the right to arrive in the comment section to spread this shit without being called out on it. You know nothing, yet you come here to spread your bullshit. All right? So, firstly, Verstappen, he's not on the racing line, so his tyres are picking up dirt in the same way that Lewis tyres may have picked up dirt at Silverstone. So, that's a bullshit fucking thing that you presented there. Secondly, how long does it take for tyres to warm up? Are you the expert of understanding the tyre warm-up on a Formula 1 car? They'd done their warm-up lap prior to the Grand Prix. They were over half the way around that first lap on that Grand Prix, on a full fuel load. And you think them tyres aren't yet warmed up? You've heard that these could be factors, but you don't know. None of us do. None of us know the grip levels of Lewis Hamilton's car relative to what the grip levels of Max Verstappen's car were at Portugal. I would suggest the expert of knowing that would be one guy. That man driving that machine at Silverstone. An 8-time world champion who's won 104 Grand Prix. Who's used to driving that car and knows what his capabilities are within that car. I would suggest his judgment about what he feels he's capable of doing in that car is far better than your bullshit account that you would like to present to everybody going, oh, well, I think he's got dirty tyres and I think he's got tyres that aren't warmed up enough and therefore I think that that manoeuvre would be impossible at the best of times, but definitely not with those predictions that I've made. And I think that he was potentially doing something that was lethal. And now put your UK bias in the bin. See? You think that's a valid opinion. Wanker. Right? But the sport of F1, right? The wank boys that it's attracted are full of opinions like that. They think they know something. They think, oh, the commentators have said tyres. Tyre temperature, dirty tyres. Oh, I know about Formula 1. You know fuck all, mate. You know fuck all. And not only that, you've been presented with other stuff as well, which is irrelevant, but you think you know. So you've been presented with things such as, oh, Max stayed on the track once he's run somebody else off the track, which was that first lap of Abu Dhabi. Oh, Max stayed on the track, so that's all okay. Think back to Austria 2021, right, where drivers were penalised for pushing other cars off the track. Right, now the driver that was the guy that pushed the others off the track were the commentators saying, oh, but he stayed on the track there. No, that's not the issue. You've got a car there that you're going into a corner with, and you've got to leave them track space. Trying to validate it going, well, he stayed on the track, so that's okay, isn't it? No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. But you're being lied to by commentators that are paid to validate and boost Max Verstappen, and therefore you think you know something about the sport. Another thing that is a myth is this notion of, oh, well, he got to the apex first. Again, myth. Okay, if you dive bomb by carrying far more speed into that corner so that you arrive at the apex, but you don't make it around the corner because you're going too fast, then that is illegal driving. But they don't tell you that. They make you, the wank boy, believe, oh, he made it to the apex first, so that's all that matters. No, that's not how it is. Another myth is this notion of, oh, he didn't hit the apex, so he caused a crash. That's bollocks, isn't it? That overtaking manoeuvre of Max Verstappen on that illegal last lap of Abu Dhabi. Did Max Verstappen hug the curb around there? Did he hit the apex around there? How many car widths was he away from that apex? And yet, was there a crash? Why wasn't there a crash? Oh, that would be because Lewis Hamilton didn't drive his car into him. Oh, that would be a reason why there wasn't a crash, wasn't there? Go and have a look. But maybe that doesn't fit your narrative. Okay? Twat. Anyway, unfortunately, this is what we have to deal with. I could go through some more, right? I could go through. I will make a video about another comment that I got here. Narcissist United. I mean, this guy here, Richard Morse 2323, he has heard the term narcissist and knows that it's a term that's a negative term used to discredit and make somebody look like they're a horrible person. Doesn't understand what it means though. So I'll go through. I mean, I'm all for doing my bit for charity and giving some free education. So I'll make a video specifically about that and a few other comments where people clearly don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but like to jump up in the comment section and tell us what they think. So let me just see if there's any other twat comments in here. You read the ones here because there's a lot of good ones. There are a lot of good comments from people that know what they're talking about, right? But then we are having to deal with the comments from the twats. Anyway, analysis. Let's have a look. Context. What's happened here then at Portugal? First of all, on the previous lap, Verstappen has backed out. He's slowed down. He's been told that Stroll is going to pass him. Stroll passes him. Stroll has been told to keep pressing on, carry on doing another fast lap. So Stroll clearly hasn't backed out. Verstappen decides he's now going to go on a fast lap, right? But Stroll's clearly not backing out. You compare the relative speed of these two cars here. Now also think back to 2022, 2023, where this Red Bull car, well, I think Max was so much faster in 2022 and 2023. He'd been down the gym and been on the Watt bike and powered them legs up so he could pedal his Red Bull a lot faster. Because in 2022 and 2023 and also in 2024, in situations like this, Max Verstappen would be by him in the blink of an eye and be like 50 metres ahead of him by the corner. All right? Because that's Max Verstappen, the best driver you've ever seen, is what they told you about it then, right? Not the fact that that Red Bull's a fucking rocket ship, right? But let's see if Max can do that here. Oh, no, he can't. Why is that? Because the car won't do it. It's not about you fucking pedaling it, Max Verstappen, right? But you'll see that this Red Bull isn't passing this car. Even though he's fully on the gas. Oh, the strap-on boys. Oh, he's clipping. The battery's losing electrical power. All right. Back out. Back out. Stroll is fully on the gas. Let's have a look what goes on. Hit the play button. Oh, I actually need to slow this down to quarter speed for analysis and to ensure that it doesn't get blocked. So let's have a look. So look at the front wheels of Max's car relative to the rear wheels of Lance Stroll's car. Is Max gesticulating? Let's just have a look at that. Is Max gesticulating to Lance, trying to get him to move out the way? Well, why should he? It's a practice session. Lance is entitled to go around there if he wants. Let's pay attention now to Max Verstappen's hands. Okay, let's have a look. Pay attention to Max Verstappen's hands here. Right, I don't know whether that's gesticulating or not. Maybe, maybe not. What we are doing now, we are approaching the braking zone for the corner. You've got the 150, the 100 and the 50 metre boards on the left-hand side of the track there. Are Max front wheels aligned with the rear wheels of Lance Stroll's car? It does not appear so. We'll carry on. We are at the 100 metre point coming up, okay? Are his wheels aligned with the rear wheels of Lance Stroll's car? No. Old commenter in the comments section. Who's got dirty tyres? Who's on the dirty part of the track? Whose tyres are warm? Who's got the hotter tyres? Who knows? Are Lewis's tyres at Silverstone on that full fuel load? Have they heated up in time? The expert of the thermodynamic properties of those tyres. Colin in the comments section. Here we go. Let's have a look. Right. So, what you just heard was a change in engine note. So, they're either, well, that's the beginning of the slowing down for the corner. We can see clearly the 50-meter board. So you have to decelerate to make it around the corner. You can't carry on at over 200 miles an hour and expect to go around a corner. So you're decelerating. It appears now that only now the front wheels of Verstappen'S car are level with the rear wheels of Stroll's car. The ruling by which I've always gone by, because that is the way that I've been educated about Formula One, that's what I've been always led to believe, is you need to be halfway alongside the car that you're challenging in order to be afforded racing room. This is when you're on the inside. All right? He's not halfway alongside. He is not halfway alongside. His front wheels are only level with the back wheels of Lance's car. He's now about halfway alongside, but we're past the 50-meter board. Lance is turning in. And should Max really be there? At the braking zone to the corner, at the deceleration point, which is when you have to make the judgment call as to whether you're entitled to racing room or whether you back out, was Max halfway alongside? I would say that that's borderline. Now, what would be easier for us to determine this is if there were graphics available from the sport who know this, who've got the telemetry, who know when drivers brake. If they could overlay, this is the braking point. We can cross-reference the braking point with what these are actually doing, and therefore the locations of the cars when they're braking, and therefore determine who's got the right to the corner. Whether Max on the inside is entitled to track room or whether he needs to yield. It is difficult for me to make a conclusive decision as to whether Max was entitled to room or whether he should have backed out. Now let's be generous and say, okay, let's say he was halfway alongside at the braking zone. Whether that's the truth or not, well, we're going to have to go back here and decide. Let's have a quick look. I don't know if we can determine it. It's only at that point there, and at that point in there, it's only there where he reaches halfway alongside, which is just before the 50-meter board. At that stage there, Lance Stroll is already picking his line to go around the corner. And if he's ahead, then he's entitled to that corner, and therefore his line can be to try to clip the apex, to clip the curb in by the apex of that corner. Because when you're travelling at that speed, at this point here, you're picking your line. You shouldn't have to then get to here and have to deviate that line. Adjusting your speed and your line all at the same time to accommodate somebody that should have backed out of a situation. So, perhaps, realistically, Lance in a race should have been entitled to that line. It's borderline, I'll acknowledge that. But this is a free practice session. This is a free practice session. You can see you followed this guy down the straight. You're not really gaining on him. You can't even get alongside him. And you're trying to lunge him in a corner. Use your brain there, if you've got one. And what we're about to see. What are we about to see? Stroll has tried to clip the corner, clip the curbing by the apex of that corner. Max Verstappen, he didn't hit the apex. He didn't hit the apex. So it's Max Verstappen's fault, isn't it? It's Max Verstappen's fault. Because that's what they tell us at Silverstone. He didn't hit the apex. He's away from the curb. Look at him. Max Verstappen's away from the curb. So therefore it's Max's fault. Is it? Is that what you judge it by? Because that's what all these wank boys in the comment section keep coming here with. That's what they think they know about the sport of Formula 1. So by that criteria, your boy Max nearly killed Lance here by doing this. Is that what Max did? Everybody knows you don't put a wheel up the inside at this corner at Portugal. Everybody, that's not the racing line. That's not the racing line, Max. Lance was on the racing line. He's entitled to that. All of this bullshit. All of this bullshit. The racing line is a myth. The racing line is something which is the optimum line that a driver would like to be on to set a fast lap round the track. But if there's another car on track racing him, and then cars are side by side, or at least partially side by side, you have to leave room for that other car. You cannot run them off the track. Okay? So you have to make an allowance. The racing line is irrelevant. You have to plot your way around that track, ensuring if there's another car in your vicinity, you're not squeezing them off the track or forcing them into take evasive action because you are driving across the line that they're on. Or by you doing that, you're going to cause a collision. Those are the rules of motorsport. But you don't get told that. You do not get told that because the hype show lies to you and doesn't educate you properly about what's acceptable and what isn't. So probably one frame on, bang! So let's just take that back. There you go. That frame there. Is Max at the apex of that corner? No. The apex is going to be about where I'm trying to wave my cursor. Okay, this white section of the curbing there. This is the curbing. Is Max hugging that curbing? Oh no, you see this black track here. Oh, Max is away from there, so therefore, if he was close to that, had Max have been there, then that would have been more 50-50, but Max didn't make the apex. Well, no, the collision's taken place, hasn't it? Lance Stroll has cut across him before you've even arrived at the corner. So whose fault's that? Well, was he entitled to do so? Well, was Max Verstappen entitled to be left racing room? Was Max Verstappen at the halfway point at the braking zone of that corner? We don't have the exact information to be able to make that determination. What you need is telemetry. When are these drivers hitting the brakes, which the stewards should be able to access? Where is the relative locations of those cars when they're hitting the brakes? And that determines who's got the right to the corner, who's got the right to racing room, or who should be backing out. That's the simple truth of it. So we'll forward this on to this view from Lance's car. In fact, I've just played it on, so I've just rewind it. Watch this. Look at where Max Verstappen ends up. Because again, what you see at Silverstone is you see Lewis Hamilton not make the apex because he has been hit before the apex, before the curbing, then having to deviate his front wheels get hit, that jolts his steering wheel, he has to counter steer, and that drifts him away from that corner and he ends up to the left of the track. What happens to Max Verstappen when a similar thing happens to Max? Look at Max's hands, look at where his car ends up. There you go. See? That's what happens when somebody hits you as you're trying to go round a corner. You don't make it around that corner in the manner you were intending to go because you've had that impact on your front wheels and that jolts everything and completely deviates your line. And the amount that actually impacts you is a lot at that speed. Okay, even a twitch of the steering wheel at that speed makes that car move a lot from the original course that it was on. That is what happens. Anyway, from Lance's perspective. Okay, Lance coming down the straight. He's been told, push, push. Okay, he's going for another flying lap. He's already passed Verstappen just 2 turns earlier than this. So he's known that Max had slowed down, he's gone by Max, and he's still continuing to push. So, and he'll have checked his mirrors at the start of this straight, and being on a fast lap himself, he's not expecting to be overtaken on the grounds that Verstappen was supposed to be backing out. And now this Lance's race engineer is saying, push, push. Should he be checking his mirrors? Maybe. But again, knowing that everybody else has backed out, you've just gone past everybody that's backed out and you're continuing on a fast lap. Are you actually expecting someone to be there? Well, certainly you wouldn't be expecting it. Now along there, his head's bobbing around a bit, but it doesn't seem to be turned to look at that right wing mirror. So he doesn't look like he's aware that Max Verstappen was there. I believe, to me, it appears that he thinks that nobody else is likely to even be there. He's come by cars that have slowed down in the last couple of turns of the previous lap, and he's gunning it on a fast lap, so there shouldn't be anybody there. He's got free rein to use the racing line for this lap that he's trying to travel on. So who's trying to put themselves there? What's going on? Why would anybody be there? So he's probably not even checked his mirrors. Let that be a lesson to you, boys and girls. Always check your mirrors, regardless of what you think, because you never know. You might have some prick that's going to sideswipe you. That's for driving on the roads, by the way. Okay, so there didn't look to be any indication that Lance Stroll knew what was going to go on there. We'll go through that again. So you can see where he's slowing down and he's putting his steering inputs to take the line. Now, do you need to be checking your mirrors and adjusting your steering wheel and adjusting your speed to now start adjusting your line halfway through this cornering process at them sort of speeds? Oh, that's a bit challenging, isn't it? That's why we have rules of engagement. We have rules of engagement to try to minimise the instance of collisions for safety. Oh no, we don't have rules of engagement in Formula One anymore. Because the kiddies like the crashes, that's what excites them. And Max, he's never guilty of crashing, is he? No, it's never Max's fault. Just give it the full send. Lick the stamp and send it, kids. You love that one, don't you? Lick the stamp and send it. No, you just don't understand. You just don't understand. But that's because you're being lied to. You're being lied to. You're not being educated correctly with what is actually relevant. So there you go. He gets hit. He is not expecting a car to be on his inside. Now, is that a valid excuse? In racing, no, because you need to be checking your mirrors. In a practice session where all that's happened beforehand has happened, well, you could be forgiven to an extent for not expecting somebody to be sticking a wheel up the inside there. But in a race, you need to be aware because you are competing for position, so there's always likely to be somebody there competing. Should Max have been there, I'm not going to completely condemn him. All I'm saying is, it's arguable. Should he have backed out in a practice session? Yeah. In a race, was he halfway alongside? Was he entitled to racing room around that corner? Borderline. And I'd need to know the telemetry of exactly where the braking zone is and what those drivers were doing and the relative locations of those cars under braking to determine whether or not Max Verstappen was entitled to the inside line around that corner. Because that's all that's relevant. And that can be evidence to the fans. That's simple. Simple technology to explain overtaking and what's acceptable and what isn't to fans. Something that I was willing to explain to Sky Sports to say, you can introduce this to the fans to actually educate fans. And they ignored me. I've put that in writing, well, in an email to Sky Sports. And they ignored me. You try to improve their offering. They don't want to do it. Why don't they want to do it? Why is that? I'll let you answer that. Anyway, Silverstone. From Lewis Hamilton's perspective, let's see what the differences are. Max Verstappen clearly knows that Lewis Hamilton is there. So let's have a look at this through. So, what is Lewis doing? Lewis, the day before in the sprint race, where Lewis qualified on pole position, so therefore set the fastest lap in qualifying, but then lost position on the first lap of the sprint race, and then tried this manoeuvre, tried going down the outside, around the outside on the first lap of the sprint race, couldn't make it stick, so this time decided to go for the inside line. Now you look back to the sprint race, Hamilton then didn't try to push it, didn't try to risk an overtake that could have resulted in a collision and being taken out of the sprint race, because that would have impacted his chances for the main Grand Prix. Rather than risk something that would have demoted him to the back of the grid for the main Grand Prix, it's better to say, I'll finish second in the sprint. I'll pick up 2 points because I'll only get 3 points for winning the sprint, but it still means I start on the front row for the main Grand Prix. Max started on the front row for the sprint and won that, so just starting on the front row for the main Grand Prix, well, it's not really a disadvantage. And the sprint race was what, 17 laps, something like that? There's no tyre changes involved. You've not got to worry about tyre degradation in the same way. The decreasing fuel load and how the handling of the car gets better. Who's better at managing it for the longer stints? Who's better at keeping for performance in their tyres for the later stages of the race? Instead, the narrative given by Sky Sports is, oh, Lewis was desperate to overtake him on lap 1, because you do feel that had Lewis not have been able to make that stick, that would have been it for the rest of the race. Lewis wouldn't have been able to overtake him. What a load of bollocks. But that's what they want to convince you of. They want to convince you all of Lewis's desperation. You're telling me that had Lewis have not have overtaken him on lap 1, then he wouldn't have had any chance of winning the race. Well, he didn't overtake Charles Leclerc on lap 1 of the restarted race. He then got a 10-second penalty and he overtook him with a couple of laps of the race remaining. How does that work then? How does that work? I can show you races earlier in that season where Lewis didn't lead every lap, but he overtook Max later on in the race and won the race. But the narrative they want to present you with is, oh, it was desperate. Lewis was desperate. So he goes to the inside, knowing that he's tried to throw Max a dummy because he couldn't get round the outside the day before, so he's gone for the inside this time. Max then tries to squeeze him to make his line as tight as possible. Max then opens it up to give himself a wider line into the corner. Lewis will then slightly follow him to try and widen the corner up himself so he can carry more speed through the corner. Look where we are. We're approaching the 50-metre board. Look at the relative positions of the cars. Is Lewis Hamilton halfway alongside that Red Bull? I would suggest he's about halfway alongside at this point. And now where is he relative to the Red Bull? At the 50-metre board, and they have to be slowing down at some point, are these cars alongside one another? Well, pretty much. Lewis Hamilton is approximately, well, he's no more than half a metre behind. The nose of Lewis Hamilton's car is no more than half a metre behind the nose of Max Verstappen's car. So therefore, he's almost alongside. Therefore, at the braking zone he is entitled to racing room around the inside of this corner. That is the way the rules of engagement work. Listen to the engine tones. Oh, we've just heard that change of engine tone. The deceleration. The braking. Look at Lewis Hamilton's hands. Look at the track. Look at the front nose of Max's car. The front wheel of Max's car. Slightly ahead of the front wheels of Lewis's car. But again, we'll just go back to there and we'll stop this just a fraction before then. The moment you hear that change of engine note, them cars are about level. Lewis is entitled to room. Does Max slow as quickly? Well, he's on the outer line. He can carry more speed through that corner because he's taking a wider sweep. What happens? Well, he's carrying more speed, which makes him look as though he's going ahead because he's going slightly ahead. But look at the line he's taking. Look at the line Lewis is taking. Look at Lewis's steering input. People are trying to suggest that Lewis Hamilton, oh, he's got dirty tyres and he's got cold tyres, according to Colin in the comments section, right? And so therefore, Lewis Hamilton's car is somehow skidding sideways across the track because it's not gripping the track and not doing what Lewis wants it to do. Oh, and it's understeer. There's no evidence of that, is there? There's no evidence of that. What you'll see is understeering is if that car doesn't make the corner. that's not the reason that this car doesn't make the corner, because the car is currently on course to make this corner. The reason it doesn't make the corner is because it gets hit. We don't know then what would have happened afterwards. We don't know if Lewis Hamilton was going too fast and wouldn't have made it around that corner. Only Lewis Hamilton would, well, he wouldn't know. He might have found out, oh, I've overcooked this. But we can't make that prediction. What we do know is the guy is decelerating. We know that he's the best guy in the world to be able to make that decision. Out of a planet of 8 billion people, he's the one guy that is best placed to make that judgment. On the grounds that he's an 8-time world champion in this sport, driving that car, and actually he's the guy in control of that car with that fuel load, with that level of grip. He's the best person to make that judgment call. Everybody else is just telling you what they think in the comment section. Well, thank you for that fucking insight. Bang! Jolt of Lewis Hamilton's hand. Where is Lewis Hamilton? Oh, he didn't make the apex. Well, where's the apex? Somewhere around here. Had he have made the apex, then it wouldn't have been his fault. He's been hit before the apex. Max Verstappen has driven across the line that Lewis Hamilton was on. He doesn't even have to hit the apex. Max Verstappen didn't hit the apex. Abu Dhabi, illegal lap 58, turn 5. Lewis Hamilton just stayed wide of him. So let's just go through this a second again. We'll go through here and then we'll see what happens to Lewis Hamilton's steering wheel and also where he then ends up. Starting to decelerate. They're about halfway alongside each other. Lewis Hamilton is definitely no more than half a metre behind. Okay, he's entitled to racing room around this corner. So therefore it's a responsibility of the car on the outside to ensure racing room, as Lewis Hamilton does at Brazil 2021, where he gets driven off the track, as he does at Saudi, where Max Verstappen runs him off the track and Lewis Hamilton still stays wide of him, as he does at Abu Dhabi, lap 1, lap 58. No collisions there. Why is that? The car on the outside stayed wide. The car on the outside here is Max the strap-on. And what does he do? Chops across. Look at Hamilton's hands. Look at the line that Hamilton's car is on. Look what happens to Hamilton's front wheel, what happens to his steering wheel, and then how that impact and the correction takes him away from that edge of the track and brings him more into the centre of the track. The angle that car is coming across him, because Max Verstappen is aiming his car at the apex, not aiming to leave Lewis Hamilton racing room. He is converging, he's closing that room right down. His line of his front wheel is on course to do that, closing Lewis Hamilton out of racing room. If you actually see his steering wheel, as we will see next time, you will see that Max Verstappen is not looking to leave Lewis Hamilton room on the inside. Collision is about to happen within a second. Bang! And that collision, deviating Hamilton's line around there, enables Charles Leclerc to go through. Okay, it enables Charles Leclerc to go through. So that lost Lewis Hamilton a place. Max Verstappen hitting Lewis Hamilton cost him a place. They also penalised him 10 seconds, gave him 2 penalty points on his licence. No further action required for Stroll and Verstappen. Right, Max's perspective. Now look at Max's head. Max knows where Lewis is. We'll look at how many times Max checks. What we'll also see come into view is we'll see Lewis Hamilton's nose of his car come into view. Max knows he's there and tries to chop across him. Tries to stay on the gas, not hit the brakes when he needs to, right? And try and beat him to the apex when he knows he's there. And in doing so, chops across Lewis Hamilton. Causes the crash. Check the mirror. Look at his head. So we're coming onto the straight. Look at Max's helmet. Okay. Look at when it twists over to the right hand side. There we go. Check the mirror. Look at the steering inputs. Check the mirror. Steering right. And now he's gone left. So he's tried to squeeze Lewis. Now he's turning in. What are we seeing on the right hand side there? We're seeing Lewis Hamilton's front wing. Let's go back here. Watch this again. Tried to squeeze him. You can see that right input that he's just tried to squeeze him. Nose is there. Max, you've got a car alongside you. You can see the front wing. You can see the front wheel alongside you. What are you doing, Max? Watch his hands. Watch his steering wheel. There it is. Pretty much the full lock. You've got a car on your inside. You've just seen it there. Look at the angle of that steering wheel. Where's that aiming? He's aiming to hit here. He's aiming to hit the curb himself. There's a car on your inside. Let's just go back. Let's show you that again. Squeeze Lewis to the right. Open it up. 50-metre board. Lewis is there. Well past the 50-metre board. Max should be able to see him there. He's been checking him all the way along the straight, so he knows he's there. You can now see him alongside him. What's his steering input? That. What do you expect Lewis to do? Do an emergency stop? Lock up? Because you're now driving across where his car is going to go? And there's your impact. Apex of the corner. This centre orange marker on the curb would be classed approximately as where be the apex of the corner. This one. It's where you'd aim to clip the curbing for the fastest line around this corner. You might want to take a late apex around here. Okay, you might want to go late on the curbs and go around there, depending on which line you were taking. They're nowhere near it because the collision takes place before it. And yet you get Jenson Button, the former world champion, condition you with the narrative. Oh, well, Lewis didn't hit the apex there, so it's his fault. Lying to you. Sky Sports spent 40 minutes vilifying him. Christian Horner on the radio. Oh, it's totally unacceptable. Everyone knows you don't pull a wheel up the inside at Cops. Oh, Max is in hospital. Oh, that was a 51G accident or whatever what it was. All that bullshit to vilify Lewis Hamilton with the wrong information. Irrelevant information, not the truth, not what you need to be concentrating on. But the strap-on fanboy feels injustice. Oh, Max fully deserved to be gifted Abu Dhabi. He fully deserved for the governing body of the sport to break the rules of the sport, to set it up for Max, and for the commentators to lie about the rules of the sport before that happened, and for F1 TV to hide the truth from the viewing public by just showing them what they wanted to show them and to interject with messages to mislead them, and then the whole of the media lying about the situation. That all deserved to happen because Lewis nearly killed Max at Silverstone, apparently. That's what nearly happened, apparently. And yet, you know, we've got Colin in the comments section. In my world, this was an attack, well, potential to be lethal. Well, fuck me. I'm old 58. That's the world you're living in, mate. You're deep in the matrix there. That mind control bullshit that you're being fed is working well in your world, isn't it? Desire-driven motives. Effectively, what your comment reads is, I like Max Verstappen. I like Max so much that I will say everything because Max is right. Super Max, Super Max, Super Max. I love Max. Yeah, that's nice, mate. Yeah. You like Max. Good. I'm pleased for you. But you know fuck all about motor racing. And part of that problem is because you've been lied to as well. Part of the problem is you're thick, but when a thick person is lied to and they don't realise they're being lied to, they just believe the lies. Damaging, isn't it? Damaging. When perpetrators take advantage of vulnerable people, shows you what kind of people those perpetrators are, doesn't it? Who are those? Who are those? Anyway, thank you for your time. I know I got a bit animated again. I do. I get frustrated at seeing bullshit. Anyway, see you next time.